us to jump into action. And so I don't take that lightly. So,
What are some of the key lessons if you had to take these with you to the grave? What are some of the key lessons that the Air Force has given you or has taught you?
oh goodness, that's a great question. So I go back to discipline being one of them, um, and I want to get more specific into work ethic, um, how you treat others. There's an internal intangible things as far as the value system, and so I can remember I came in the military services, so I came in as a cook, and my grandfather was a cook, and so when it was presented to me, I was like, really, I can cook plus I can work in fitness. I wasn't crazy about lodging, but I thought, man, out of these other two things, I can go. And as early as maybe age 10, my grandfather taught me how to carve swan melons and watermelon baskets, and so I remember those days, coming up in the kitchen in the DFAC, if you will, and working really from breakfast, 04:30 all the way sometimes to the dinner meal because we were just short staffed. But I didn't care. We crunk up the music, and it was a unification. And so I haven't forgotten that piece as far as when we look at some of the lessons. No matter what, whether you step in or outside of the uniform, you still have to treat people accordingly. And rank does not define who you are. Um, and so when I look back at the individuals who helped pull me up, there's a charge and there's a responsibility that's given to us when we have that kind of honor. So one of the things that was very important for me was when I promoted to chief. For everybody that could come, for those members when I first came in from that organization, I had them on stage and I had them to help put on my new stripes and to tack me. And so never forget where you came from. Someone else, paved the way for us to be here. And so, we can never forget that. Can never, move past some of those trailblazers. So again, treating people with respect and dignity. Again, it's very simple, old school methodology, but it rings so true. Right before we got started, we were talking briefly about kind of that honor system of, you may. I'll speak for myself. I don't always remember names. Names, dates, man. I will tell you, I am horrible at that. But I don't forget a face. And so if someone says, "Hey, chief," "Hey, shirt," whatever, I would like to think, subconsciously that I might have treated them fairly because otherwise, oh, there's that dude. Let me try to avoid him. He's coming this way. Let me do an about face, if you will. So I think it's just again some of the core things the military has definitely prepared me for. Understanding, work ethic, and to endure the things and not to sweat the small stuff. I mean, life is so fragile, so important that we owe it to ourselves to really just go out and give our absolute everything.
I know a lot of times we talk about knowing your why.
Yeah.
Why is it important to know your why?
Mm, that's deep, but I love this question. Um, your why defines your purpose, so that you go beyond. I'm left-handed by trade, so my degree is in multimedia, and so I was a graphic designer for a long time, and so I was that kid that was always very observant and always was forward thinking, just thinking about what's next. And I think for me, I have to start back to the original essence of others that kind of helped to instill the why. So when I think about trailblazers from a military standpoint, I think about um, Rodney Davis, retired Marine veteran, Medal of Honor recipient that's from my hometown, that's buried in my hometown and not in Arlington. And so that's worthy of looking up as to know that amazing story. I think about the men and women of the Tuskegee Airmen. And I think about General Benjamin O. Davis and Chappie James and how those individuals, along with those civilians, every single person that pulled together, that forged together because they wanted something more. Um, additionally, I think about my grandparents. My parents divorced when I was very young, and so my grandparents, that house became a safe haven, safe space. And my grandmother, no disrespect, granddad, but grandmama's number one, but she taught me so many life lessons at a very early age. And what I didn't realize was that she was preparing me for life, not just in the moment. And so she wanted better for all of her grandkids. But since I was the oldest grandchild, she poured more into me first. So I had a head start. And, after, 20 plus years of service, I know my why is to continue to move on. But even outside of the uniform, I have so much more to give. My heart is rooted in mentoring and helping those not only that may look like me, but I came from humble beginnings, and so I can remember the days of going to Payless and getting some XJ9000, some Pro Wings. Uh, you know, there was one time in particular, man. We had I think it was playing basketball. If you've ever played basketball in some Payless shoes and it's raining, uh, tough times. But again, those are moments that humble you because you never forget, and so it provides the additional echelon of empathy, so that you can't always be a stringent leader. Yeah, there's times I have to have tough conversations where I've had to come, call folks in the office and I might have to chew them out. But on the flip side, you got to be able to recognize that when someone's going through something, but that goes back to getting to know the folks around you. And so um, my why is to ensure that I carry and continue the legacy of those who have poured into me. But most importantly, that I don't lose myself along that journey and that pathway. Um, I think that's it.